Issue 267. We start out with Tails calling all freedom fighters about Supersonic, who is targeting all of the shipping ports, destroying all the transport. Silver says that he's cutting all access to South Island in particular because his first move was to strike Emerald Hill Zone, and not Eggman's base for some weird reason. Meanwhile, after we see Supersonic attack some people and seem to reduce Emerald Hill to a wasteland in the present, Silver sends a rock at him, which actually does hurt him, even though he's super. Silver tells Sonic that the village was evacuated long before he came there, and Sonic just says he likes to play with his food. Tails is told that Knuckles left after putting the evacuees in South Island waters, and there was a distress call from the Chaotix crew. Apparently he's taken the Grey Emerald to recharge Omni. By he, that means Knuckles, I think. I thought Omni was destroyed because he was totally absorbed by Supersonic. How could there be anything left of him? Suddenly, Tails figures out that the reason Sonic took so long to hit Emerald Hill was to lure Knuckles with the Grey Emerald right to him. Is Supersonic really that capable of forethought? Like, first he anticipated the Chaotix showing up, and now this. If he was capable of forethought, you'd think his first target would have been Eggman's base, instead of him always mindlessly attacking the first thing next to him. The story ends with Sonic saying that he brought something to use against Knuckles, then he turns hypersonic with the collar and Grey Emerald flying away from him. So how am I expected to believe Knuckles is destined to survive this? Hypersonic would be unbelievably fast. In the next story, we're told that Tikal is a heroic warrior about to take down yet another otherworldly villain, and Knuckles has called her sidekick is useless. So is this just a fictional story? I assume so, because this is wrong on so many levels. Tikal's peaceful, and Knuckles is a sassy warrior who calls Porker's inventions weird toys. Tikal even tells Porker, "Spare me the techno-babble," which was something Sonic said a lot. Is this an alternate dimension? They should just tell me that right from the start so I'd have a reason to get invested. They go fight a monster in the aircraft, which even Tikal is afraid of. The monster reveals that he shapes new worlds in people's minds, where they're the center of attention, while feeding off their energies, putting them to sleep forever. They all realize none of this is real, as the monster actually knows everything Tikal's been upset about and taunts her about it. I guess he read her mind. Because Tikal was told how much power she has, and the monster stupidly bragged to her face, she uses her power to bring everything back to normal, and when she apologizes to Knuckles, blaming herself for everything, Knuckles puts his hand on her shoulder and tells her that someone weak would have made the selfish choice and stayed in the fantasy world. Porker even relates to her that he knows what it's like to feel alone in a group. In the next story, Kane tells Tails that he slipped listening devices in the control room of Gold and learned his ridiculously out-of-place plan. I like that Kane has a selfish reason for helping out, so it's in character. He thinks the conquered planet will be bad news for the media. Naturally, freedom of speech gets restricted. Kane says he can sneak into the company building as we see Gold watching this all. Why does Amy call Gold's grudge against Eggman stupid? People have every reason to hate him, but instead she's calling him pathetic for it. Tails has to leave his ally behind to deal with the Cybernics, and he ends up getting grabbed by Gold. Then Amy hits Gold, breaking his robot hand, because I guess she has super strength, and she tells Tails to go stop the machine. Somehow, Gold goes from menacing to Amy easily throwing him away from her in the span of one panel. Tails says that he deactivated the machine while holding some wires, and Gold gets arrested. The first story was by Stephen Davis, and as Sonic in super form lure Knuckles to Emerald Hill so he can absorb the power of his Grey Emerald going hypersonic. Though I really can't imagine how he can be any more of a threat than he already is. Again, I don't think Supersonic has forethought. The second story was by L.T. Fletcher and started me out detached because it came off as a fanfiction written by Tikal herself, making herself the brave hero and Knuckles the cowardly sidekick, and it seems out of character for her to have a egomaniacal fanfiction about herself. But fortunately, it's quickly explained as a banshee monster making the heroes get brainwashed into it. The monster out of nowhere made a big mistake telling Tikal what he did. He should have known she would reverse it. He can read her mind. And the third story was by Shatz and Charles Ellis, and as Tails deactivate the brainwashing machine, while Amy defeats Gold ridiculously easily. I didn't care much for this story. We really didn't need to have Gold have a plan like this. Because he was turned into such a ridiculous cartoon villain, I was totally detached and bored. I mean, sure, Mr. Gold was talking like a Bond villain right from the start, but excuse me for having more faith in the writing to not be totally predictable. I guess if it was the official comic, I would have never believed that he would not be like this.